We're live.
Dude, we're live again. Nobody's joined, but oh wait, 3 people already. All right, cool. Hi everybody.
We're back. Because it's gonna be hockey time, dude.
Hey guys. Oh dudes. Oh, see, this is already working. I can
But we can actually read the
we
comments.
can actually read the comments this time. See? Look at
Outstanding. Sweet. Awesome to see everybody.
Yeah. It's good to be back. I know, sorry it's been so long, but hopefully we will not disappoint. Let's see, dude. Let me get the recording started. I know the last time I don't think I posted the podcast right.
Yeah, it was just the
just the live stream. So this time I'll make sure to do it right. I thought I fixed it, but maybe I didn't fix it.
No.
I thought I fixed it.
So have we recorded since we went to Vegas?
No.
Okay, well we got
Vegas stuff.
Okay. Talk about Vegas.
Wait, let me check the last time we recorded. Anybody know when the last time we recorded? So now I can get them
to before Vegas. So it was before Vegas. We hadn't gone yet.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Let me get the recording started. The podcast, that is. Hey there, and welcome to the Dudes on Hockey podcast. I'm Mike. That's Doug.
Dude, we just got back from Vegas.
We did?
We did. We've been there for a month.
A whole month, 6 weeks.
It's been brutal.
Yeah, it's hot out there.
Totally brutal. It was an awesome trip, dude. We haven't recorded, as one of our listeners says in the YouTube chat, in a long ass time.
That's true.
Which is true. So here we are. We're back and ready to talk about the upcoming hockey season, dude. What are we going to talk about?
We're still a ways away, dude. The thing, I got to be honest, one of the things that kept us from recording or kept me from wanting to record is I was sucked in to Corey Pronman's prospects ranking.
This is true.
On The Athletic.
Every day
he would post another team or sometimes two. And I felt myself waiting for the Sharks. And so we're going to be talking about that in detail tonight. We're on the YouTube streaming. We got several people already joined. Feel free to post comments and questions for us. We'll answer them while we record, which is always fun.
Let's talk about Vegas, dude.
Oh yeah, we were in Vegas since the last time we recorded.
Highlights of the trip
for the annual trip. Certainly a highlight was watching the World Cup.
Yes, we watched it at Legacy's Stadium in the Palazzo. If you haven't been there, to their wonderful sports book and also venue for watching a game. We got to see the France-Netherlands semifinal game surrounded by a bunch of shirtless and inebriated French fans. And
a few Belgian fans, but not as many.
Almost none, dude. And it was fun. We had a great time. We had some money on France.
We did.
Our
won.
buddy who we were with had some money on Belgium, and we won.
Our clear football prowess won.
Yes, and we behaved as if we were 20 years younger.
We did.
And didn't feel so good. At least I didn't.
Well, that World Cup game was in the morning, and you can't.
These are poor decisions. I mean, at this point, though, I can't pull that off anymore. I was, as Joe Namath would say, struggling. I was struggling. Yeah. It was brutal as we went to dinner with our wives. Not that was brutal, but I definitely was limping through the rest of the evening. But
right, we weren't quite.
But we won. We won.
We won the bet.
We won on France, and Mike and I had a bet on which team would have the most corner kicks. Or odd or even. It was an odd or even number of corner kicks. This is how degen we were.
Yeah.
We're out there.
We decided to make a really stupid bet that required no skill.
And this was how dumb we were. We were going to make the bet with the sports book. We were going to bet the sports book, which it was odd or even minus 115. And we're going to make the bet. And the lady behind the counter is like, why don't you guys just bet each other?
And we're like,
instead of giving me money. I was like, oh yeah,
I guess we should do that.
Stupid. What else, dude? You played craps?
Yeah, we played lots of gambling, lots of good food.
Oh, we played. Dude, this is a good story. So we're out there during the NBA Summer League, right?
Right.
And we had found this computerized. Well, it's almost like
we went to Topgolf. People know what
okay.
Topgolf is.
Okay. Well, we went to Topgolf, but that's okay. Well, we'll tell that story, and then we've got to go back to the horse racing story.
Oh, okay.
So we're at Topgolf, which is a lot of fun.
Yes.
You're in Vegas, and I guess they're opening a few here in California soon.
Yep.
It's like target practice for golf, but the ball has a tracking device in it, and you're able to figure out how many points you get based on where you put it in the hole, etc.
Right. Yeah, it's fun, even for people who suck at golf like us.
Sure. Yeah, and we were terrible, but we were still having a good time. And the power went out.
Yep.
The power went out in the entire complex to the point where they had to shut down. There was like a windstorm.
Yep.
It was 110 degrees with lightning and wind. And then it started to rain. And everybody's trying to get in a cab, and we can't find our way back. So we had to walk.
Yep.
We walked the strip like total degens, walking down the street.
But who do we see at Topgolf, dude?
Oh, we saw Joel Embiid.
We saw Joel Embiid at Topgolf.
We saw a lot of NBA players. So now, fast forward to being back at the Venetian, and we found this. It was almost like those old, dude, did you ever have
like bubble hockey?
Yeah.
For horses.
The computerized football game. Maybe some of the listeners had this where it was like magnetic and it vibrated.
Yeah.
Remember? And you
those.
have the foam ball and push them down so they had like this horse racing game. Right.
Yeah.
It was all computerized. It was kind of reminded me of that.
With these like mechanical horses.
Right. And you could bet on, and we were betting on whichever horse had the most offensive name.
Right.
We felt like how we could justify which one was the most offensive.
None of those names we're going to be repeating on the podcast, by the way.
So I won. I mean, I kept winning.
Yeah.
Like I just kept winning. And it was hilarious because there's absolutely no skill involved.
None.
We're just having a good time. And we're playing, and Larry Nance Jr. from the Cleveland Cavaliers sits down next to me, starts playing the stupid computerized horses.
I know.
He's wearing a little Cleveland Cavaliers shirt, and I'm wearing my Klay Thompson Warriors jersey, and I'm just sitting there going, "This is surreal.
Yeah.
This is really funny to me." And I looked at him, and I told him, "You suck." And the Cavs suck. That didn't happen.
That did not happen.
No, that part didn't happen. No, I quietly played and snickered to myself.
Right.
You had no idea who it was.
Of course not.
No, I had to explain it to you.
I had to stare at Joel Embiid for about 2.5 minutes to discover that was him.
It was a good trip, dude. We had a good time.
Really good time.
And I don't think I lost money. I think I came out even-ish.
Yeah, I was pretty close to even. I did not
bet on baseball.
Lose my ass, which is really always a win.
That's right, dude. Congrats.
Thanks, dude. And next year
it's on me for the first time, dude. Congratulations. Everybody gets lucky once.
Even a blind squirrel can find a nut now and again. That's right.
All right, dude. Well, I mean, in terms of hockey news, Sharks news, there's not a lot going on.
The quietest part of the season for sure. And, there hasn't really been much news since the Tavares thing happened. You don't see a lot of
we haven't seen a ton of player movement. I think the biggest thing that has happened was even a week or two ago with the Jeff Skinner trade happening with Buffalo, which that was a player that, I think we thought maybe the Sharks might have some interest. He's, a 25 plus goal scorer, still in the prime of his career, has a lot of NHL experience. He's going to be a free agent. He's exactly the kind of guy that maybe you thought Doug Wilson might get involved with. And the price from Buffalo was like their, I don't know, 5th or 6th prospect, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 6th.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the 3rd and the 6th actually come in 2020. So what do you think of that in terms of just a price? Not necessarily you think it's a good move for Buffalo, but so they essentially replaced Evander Kane with Jeff Skinner.
Yep.
I think Evander Kane's a better player.
Yeah, me too.
But what do you make of that price, and where do you think that puts the price for Max Pacioretty, who's probably the only other major trade chip that's out there that might be of interest to the Sharks?
I don't see Pacioretty getting as much as that, right? I think Pacioretty is pretty clearly sort of more on the downslope of his career than Skinner. Skinner's been sort of stuck in Carolina. I don't know if he actually won Rookie of the year he did, but I certainly remember him making a very large splash that year.
Right.
And was easily in the Calder conversation his first season, and has been a very steady offensive threat for them ever since. But, Carolina's kind of not one of those teams that you hear about that much, especially out in the West Coast, and they haven't really been very good for a while. So I don't know. I think Buffalo's got to replace some guys. Buffalo has a very, to speak of the athletic thing, we haven't seen Buffalo yet in the rankings. I certainly expect Buffalo probably to be in the top 5. I think, they've had a lot of high draft picks lately, certainly Jack Eichel and others, recently. So I expect their prospect pool to be pretty strong and deep, so they could give up their 6th best guy.
Right. And a couple of picks, and, it's worth, it's only worth it if they plan on re-signing Jeff Skinner, which you have to imagine that's the plan.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
It's not like
it's not like they're really thinking that they're going to make a playoff splash. If they make the playoffs, it'll be a huge accomplishment for them.
Right. Yeah, it would be. They're going literally from worst to playoffs. Right. So unlikely. When I saw that, I thought, oh, well, does this set the price on Pacioretty? You're right. Pacioretty did not have a good year last year. I think he had 17 goals. He only played in 64 games, but this is a guy who has had 5 years of 30 plus goals, including 4 years in a row of 30 plus goals, even getting to 35, I think once or twice. And he's not even 30, Max Pacioretty.
Yeah.
So you think about that and you go,
so he's older, but yet has a stronger track record.
He's got a stronger track record. Is this guy really going to fall off the map? Montreal, right? Let's be honest. They were terrible.
They sucked.
They were terrible last year.
Oh, yeah. So huge disappointment.
And for him,
maybe the biggest in the NHL.
One of the longest standing players on that team, if not the, right? He's got to be looking around going, what has happened?
What am I
what
doing
is him
here?
And Carey Price are standing there going, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And this is a hot mess. And get me out of here, right? Get me out of here. And, supposedly there was a deal, an agreement sending him to the Kings before the Kovalchuk deal. And it fell apart. And I don't know, there certainly was a lot of smoke around the Sharks.
Yeah.
And even a rumor that there was a deal that had been consummated, and then that just went completely silent.
Right.
So what percentage do you give it, dude, that maybe the Sharks acquire another impactful player before the season starts?
Actually, at this point, I put the chances pretty low because I think the Sharks don't, to their credit, and you see other teams have done this in the past, especially teams that are under a lot of pressure to win in a certain time frame. Oh, well, we didn't get Tavares, so we have to do something. So we'll make a dumb trade for Max Pacioretty,
Right.
We'll give up too much.
Right.
And, there's been times the Sharks have arguably given up too much in trades. Of course, it happens when you trade for guys, but it doesn't sound like the Sharks are super interested in pulling the trigger, especially when you look at, the kinds of guys that might be available next season.
Right.
Tyler Seguin, I think, is obviously,
and he is also on that list.
Yeah, why would Tyler Seguin want to be in
sure.
Dallas?
Well, right. And Tyler Seguin, Panarin,
right.
And I think the one that might be, if Doug Wilson is doing some under the radar shopping here, we haven't heard this name recently connected to the Sharks, but we heard it certainly a lot, for the previous 18 months, is Matt Duchene. Duchene is going to be unrestricted. Do you think he's going to stay in Ottawa?
Oh, talk about the hot mess. Ottawa is the worst.
They're a train wreck all over the place.
Yeah, Carlson's
going to leave. Matt Duchene, he's going to sign an 8-year deal there.
Yeah.
No way.
No chance.
So they're going to move him. You are not hearing anything about that. Like, if you're the Sharks, maybe you're sniffing around that. Would Ottawa dare make another deal with Doug Wilson after he sort of pants them with the Hoffman thing? But you're right. You don't make a trade here just to make a deal when you might have your eye on something bigger. If you're trading for Pacioretty, you give up assets. Even if you give up like a second and Josh Norris, that hurts.
Oh, yeah.
That hurts, right? So,
and we're going to be talking about the draft. Or we're going to be talking about the prospects here in a second.
So they probably want to try and hang on to, because really the thing that they gave up of value for Evander Kane is not Danny O'Regan, right?
Right.
It's and not
Now
even
it's the first round.
and not even Bergman. It's the first rounder.
Yeah.
But would you trade a first rounder for Evander Kane?
Yeah.
For 9 years of Evander Kane, including the end of last year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, would you trade a first rounder for 6 years of Max Pacioretty? I can't say that I would right now. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that I would.
That's a tougher call for sure.
It's a tougher call. So,
anybody else? What do you think? 6 years, first round for 6 years of Max Pacioretty? Let's go to the phones. Oh wait, we don't have phones. We have a comment thread. On the comments, Mike says that Kane is better for the Sharks. Has more grit than Skinner, which is
well, that's definitely true.
Definitely true.
And Jeff Skinner, one of the big knocks on him is he plays no defense.
Right.
It's very soft, and the Sharks don't need that. As for a team that sort of has a reputation of not being the toughest anyways. I think they've gotten better at team toughness, but adding a guy like Skinner who maybe isn't going to be accountable at the other end isn't what you want, where I think Evander Kane appears to be willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yeah, I think you're right, dude. The odds of the Sharks pulling off a impactful deal before the season starting I'd give it a 5% chance.
Well, of the three guys that have responded, all three said no thanks on Pacioretty. Max asks, how do you think the Islanders do without Tavares, dude? Are they going to be full on basement, or do they have enough other pieces to make it somewhat respectable?
No, I think they're going to be terrible.
Yeah, they're not going to be a playoff team.
No, I mean, because there's so many other teams.
And they got nothing for him.
Yeah,
right?
They got nothing for him. Yeah, it was a mad gamble, really, that was concocted before the current regime took over. Like Garth Snow.
I mean, I don't know how you can. I mean, maybe it's a risky business and everything, but if I were the Islanders GM, I would have told him, I said, listen, if you're not signing here by the trade deadline, we're trading you. Because you can't risk giving up the best free agent in 5 years for nothing. And that's what they did. They got nothing. I mean, they would have gotten, actually, even for only 6 weeks of John Tavares, they would have gotten
They would have gotten a ton.
They were a player or something. They would
at
have got
least more. They would have got more.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was.
They really screwed the pooch on this one.
They did. It was a gross mishandling of that whole process. So will they be good? No, I think they're going to be terrible. Will they be the worst team in the Eastern Conference? Maybe. Who? At least you look at Buffalo, you go, okay,
Ottawa.
Well, okay, Ottawa. Yeah,
Ottawa, Carolina.
I mean, the Islanders have some good young players, but I think someone like Jordan Eberle is going to be completely exposed now, and I don't think Barzal's ready to be
Jordan Eberle, dude. He's got to be like, what the hell did I do?
Well, he's going to be a free agent too. Actually.
Oh, really?
So you know who else is going to be a free agent? Isn't Joe Pavelski a free agent next year?
Maybe.
So we won't talk about that yet.
Not yet.
Dude, yeah, Islanders are going to be terrible.
They're going to be bad.
Terrible. Bad.
Oh, man. Buffalo. Mike says Buffalo did some sneaky good stuff this summer. They will not blow nearly like before. I agree. I think Buffalo is going to be definitely an up-and-coming team. I think.
Are you revealing one of your picks? Vegas pick?
I'm not.
Buffalo, number one?
Yeah, a team that hasn't made the playoffs in years. I'm going to pick them number one. Although I did pick Montreal really early last year, so clearly that worked out.
The last pick of the whole thing was Vegas. Yeah. We're guaranteed whatever team we don't take or gets taken last is
going to make the playoffs.
Is going to make the playoffs. That always happens.
Although it's going to be Vancouver again. They're not making the playoffs.
No.
Although
one of us is going to take Ottawa before we take Vancouver? None chance.
That's tough.
It's going to be the year that the curse is broken because Ottawa.
I hear Vancouver's in on Erik Karlsson.
Well,
I just read that today.
Okay. Good for them.
Bob is asking, now that you're a golfer, how far do you think Tiger will make it in the FedEx Cup? What do I know? Golf. I can barely swing a club.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you don't want to know our opinion on that, Bob.
You don't want to know. Let's go to. You want to go to the Athletic, dude?
Yeah, dude. Let's talk about the prospect rankings because I think this really was one of the reasons why we delayed the podcast so long, because I think we were expecting to see the Sharks.
The Sharks have been in the bottom 5 for the past however many years.
And it kept going 30, 28, 26. When we got to 20 and they hadn't been listed yet,
Doug and I were texting each other every day. We're still not listed. Still not listed. I can't believe we're not 22.
So the Sharks made it all the way in Corey Promen's rankings to number 17.
Yes.
And the year before, he ranked them when he's working for ESPN at 30.
Yeah.
So the Sharks jumped almost to the halfway mark.
Yeah.
Almost, dude.
And in my opinion, and we were speculating all the, for the days that it took to go from 30 down to 17 as to why the Sharks had jumped so much. And I think most people will guess the reason that is. And the reason that is because of Ryan Merkley, who the Sharks drafted this past year in the first round. We talked about that in previous shows, and let me read. I'm not going to read the whole article because I want people to subscribe to The Athletic because it's good content. But I'm going to go over what Corey said, then I'll read the section on Ryan Merkley here. So he says Merkley is one of the best passers I've ever seen at his age. He has the vision to attempt and execute plays most players don't think about, and has the composure to move the puck at an elite level. When he's on his game, he makes everyone around him look better. While he won't attempt end-to-end rushes, Merkley can make highlight reel skill plays to open up space for his vision. He skates very well, but he's more of an elusive skater with great edge work than a guy who blazes through the neutral zone, though he does possess above-average speed. Merkley is small and can be a headache defensively with some of his decisions, coverage, and physicality, although I've seen him lay out a huge hit here and there. He has severe ups and downs where he looks dominant one game and can be a major negative another. He also can let his emotions get the best of him. So we've talked about some of those in previous ones, but obviously Corey Promen's job essentially is to watch amateur and minor league games, minor level games. And he, literally reviews and keeps statistics and ranks thousands of players over many years. He did this for Hockey Prospectus years ago. He did it for ESPN, obviously. I mean, this is a guy, there is no perfect science to this, but this is a pretty significant endorsement of Ryan Merkley.
It's a glowing review, dude, and he has them rated into different categories. And essentially, he's saying Merkley has a chance to be one of the top players at his position. I mean, that's in the NHL, not on the Sharks,
right?
In the league. So that's exciting. I think we thought that might be possible in terms of him being the top-rated prospect. But then when you see him write about some of these other guys who the Sharks, there's a first-round pick in there in Josh Norris, who gets a good review as somebody who he rates as a legit NHL prospect. But then he also mentions a couple of guys who were 7th-round picks, 5th-round picks that the Sharks, have coming in the pipeline that won't be guys necessarily that we're going to see this next year that he thinks have the opportunity to be real top 9 NHL impactful players. Which a lot of the teams, well, clearly because they're ranked ahead of them, but the teams below them didn't have this much depth.
Right.
Right.
And he also mentioned that some of these guys who are more on the bubble guys, maybe not guys that you would expect to be the Jack Eichels, the guys who are slam dunk NHL players and just weren't in the league yet. But some of these guys who were more on the bubble players, a lot of them seem to get better in his view and went up in his estimation over the past year.
Right.
And one of these guys that I did not expect to see in the rankings, number 2 as a Sharks prospect, is Alexander Malevsky, who played in the OHL. That's not a name I expected to see at number 2.
Yeah, I think he was a 7th or 6th round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was passed on by every team multiple times. And here he is, rated number 2 in the Sharks system. He had a very good season in the OHL. And
he says he's one of the best playmakers in the OHL in the games I saw. He makes unique plays and can make those tough plays at a quick pace. I mean, if you can do things at a quick pace, that's the thing that seems to trip up a lot of prospects is they, build a skill set and then they have to execute that skill set at 15 or 20% faster in the NHL. And that's what it's funny. You talk to you see interviews with young players and they all say the same thing. The game is so much faster at this level. The game is so much faster at this level. So I personally like it when I read reviews of players and they say they can execute at a high pace. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good sign. And that may be why he's number 2. And we see Josh Norris here at number 3.
Rudolph Balcers, who's a guy who I think has a chance to make the team this year, maybe. Although there are some, I think, dude, and you know more about this than I do, and maybe some of the listeners who are watching tonight have an answer to this as well. But I think that there are players that the Sharks have used sending them back and forth. That can't happen this year. I think Goudreau's played too many games. I don't think he's going to be waiver exempt anymore. I don't think they can do that with Marcus Sorensen anymore. I don't think they can do that with Tim Heed this year. I think that those guys, if they are going to send them down, they're going to risk losing them. Not that they will, and not that they shouldn't if a guy like Balcers beats them out for a spot. With Sorensen, I think is unlikely. I think we saw him take that step forward.
Yeah.
But, a guy like Goudreau, if he's not going to be on the team, which I think right now you're projecting him to be the fourth line center, do you see a guy like Balcers come in and play on one of those? That bottom line really seems to be the only line that's maybe a little unsettled.
Right.
So
Balcers is a wing. Norris is his center. Malevsky is also a center.
Right. Well, Malevsky and Norris are not going to be, around.
They're not going to be pushing for the big club this year.
But Balcers, odds are we're going to see him in San Jose at some point. Like he's going to play as an injury replacement. Could be that first forward coming up. You would think that they're not going to keep him around just to sit. And now you're getting down into the next tier here with Dylan Gambrell, which I was a little disappointed to see him in this category, but I respect the ranking. Mario Ferraro, the defenseman who was drafted last year in the second round from Massachusetts, Jeremy Roy. I don't know.
I still don't know.
He hasn't played enough games for us to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what they said. This guy has had 2 massive knee injuries that have robbed him of some of his skill. So is he going to be able to rebound? I really hope that he has a healthy season this year. Maxim Letnov, dude.
Yeah.
The player who the Sharks got in a trade with Arizona, I believe.
Yep.
And he has some upside. Another late round pick here, Ivan Chekovich. Am I right?
Yep.
I don't know.
Or Chekovich, maybe.
Chekovich and Joachim Blichfield, dude.
Yep.
These are all Radim Civic defensemen. Another guy who, we might see push for playing time. Jake McGrew. Now we're down to 13. Vincent Praplin and Noah Gregor. I got to say, for a lot of the other teams, they didn't get this deep at 14 in players that he considered to be guys who have a chance to play in the NHL.
Right.
And for the Sharks to have 14 that high on the list, it's good. It's good. It's good. Only good.
And then we got a bunch of depth guys. He goes well into the 20s. And so he also does an organizational top 10 at 23 and under. And he puts Ryan Merkley above Timo Meier, which is very surprising to me as a guy who's played exactly 0 NHL games. And Timo Meier scored 20 goals last year.
Sure. But I think that Ryan Merkley, he is projecting to have the impact of a Dan Boyle type visionary playmaker. And Timo Meier, I think even at his best, isn't going to be significantly better than he was last year.
Right.
I mean, he's a 20-25 goal scorer who brings a ton of grit. I love Timo Meier. But Merkley could be one of the best players at his position, according to this projection.
Right.
So I get it why he's ranked higher.
It's
exciting, dude. I mean, I didn't think we're usually sitting here talking about how much our system blows.
Yeah.
And now we're reading a report of somebody that we respect saying, hey, the future isn't so awful, dude.
Yeah.
Any good comments?
The future is not awful. I think it's funny. There's quite a discussion in the thread that I'm trying to pay somewhat of an attention to, but obviously we're recording. And guys are arguing the various and sundry points of re-signing Jumbo and Pavelski and how their deals might be up and how this team will sort of move to the next generation.
Yeah,
I think you're right. The problem is that, and I think a lot of teams have the same problem, is that you have a good core of players. You have guys like Joe Thornton, who's going to be a Hall of Famer, and Joe Pavelski, who's one of the best Sharks ever to wear the uniform. And you think, who are going to take these spots, at these high levels? And certainly Logan Couture has done that, but you wonder who else can take these kinds of spots. And is there a guy amongst this list that we just mentioned, other than Ryan Merkley, that we think might be able to take those spots? The answer is no. I mean, I don't know. is Rudolph Balcers going to be an all-star? I guess
Well, we won't know until they get up here.
it's
But
possible,
but the fact that there's even somebody who's rating these players as having a chance to make a potential impact is exciting.
yeah.
And
I like it because a lot of times it seems like so many guys you draft are just it's pure crapshoot. And for someone to say Ryan Merkley's legit, he's gonna be a good NHL player, if not a great one,
right,
that makes me really happy.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think Logan Couture might be the last time we had one of those guys, where they said this guy's gonna be awesome. This guy's definitely gonna be good.
Cole Tobin. Nah,
Did really people say that?
That was a joke.
Oh, okay.
Tone.
Like, really?
Taylor Doherty.
Really?
Nick Petrecki.
It's first round, but I don't know.
No one said that about those guys.
Yeah, it's tough. The one thing, so looking at some of these other rankings, we see that the Los Angeles Kings are pretty highly ranked. They're number 10 overall.
Sure.
It made us both quite happy to see the Ducks ranked well below the Sharks at number 24. So that's good. Some other surprises, I would say. Pronman has the Flames ranked at 29th as a team that missed the playoffs by a mile last year. That puts them in decidedly precarious territory. They need to be good this year, or it could be just like blow the whole monster up.
Yeah, you can't quite figure out exactly what their issue is, other than questionable goaltending. And team chemistry, maybe. I don't know. They've tried a lot of different things, and they certainly are spinning the wheel now. Apparently, putting all the blame on Dougie Hamilton, and seeing if that shakeup can continue. They added some veterans that didn't really work. They brought in a few different goalies that hasn't really panned out. So yeah, this for Brad Treliving, right? Treveling, whatever his name is. This is maybe it for him, because he's got another new coach.
Yeah.
This is their third coach, I think, that they've had, right? And they fire Bob Hartley after he made the playoffs or something like that. To go with Glenn Gullickson, whatever.
Yeah,
dude. I mean, you got to feel good about the position the Sharks are in. And
sure, we're bummed that they didn't get.
Of course,
they were bummed they didn't get Tavares, but you talked me into getting optimistic or excited about it when I really tried to stay cynical about the whole thing.
I know, sorry, dude.
And you got my hopes up.
Sorry,
and they were dashed, but it's okay. I'll live, sort of. And
I stupidly believed that there was a chance.
I think there was a chance. It's just it didn't turn out.
I don't think there really was a chance.
Really?
No, not looking back on the different things that I've
the picture of him sleeping.
I think that he might have, he clearly listened, but I think he knew what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, he was going to go home, which, unless they made him a completely ridiculous offer, which they weren't going to do, he was going to go. And I can't blame him for that. And, I know Doug Wilson's probably looking to go big game hunting again. And, can he finally lure one of these guys out here without having to make a trade? And that might not be possible. He might have to trade assets, which it seems like the Sharks have some that we didn't know about, to get a Tyler Seguin, to get a Panarin, to get a Matt Duchene out here to help the current team win.
Yeah. Dude, we got a question. Curious what you guys expect the division will look like around the All-Star break. Dude, what do you think? We have the Golden Knights.
Well,
obviously they were the number one team. The question is where,
they are just ripe for regression, dude.
I believe you're right.
They're ripe for regression. I think, replacing Neal and Perron with Stasny that's not a good trade. Like, I wouldn't want to make that trade.
And Tatar was not good.
And now you're going to be putting him into a more regular role. He's not a bad player. It just wasn't a good fit. And they gave up so much to get him.
A lot.
I don't think Marc-Andre Fleury can do that again. There's nothing against Flower, but
yeah,
dude, like he would play out of his mind.
Yep.
I think that team had an amazing year, and they're clearly not going to be bad, but I don't think they're going to be that good. And I think they're going to be more of a middle of the pack team than the Western Conference elite.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Anaheim Ducks are on the wrong side of their franchise history right now.
Yeah.
And they've done little to nothing to change that.
Did you see the recent like Kessler versus Ryan Johansson like tweet war or whatever? That's kind of
who cares?
It's entertaining though.
I mean, I look at the division and I think the team that it is maybe the biggest question mark is the Kings.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think this division is the state of this division is about two players. It's about Ilya Kovalchuk and Joe Thornton.
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to play?
Right.
Are they going to play well? Thornton, obviously, a lot of injury problems. Can he come back and be the same old Joe and be, an elite passer, an elite playmaker, play the tough minutes and not have another injury problem? Or are they going to try and shelter him, put him on the third line or something? I mean, it certainly sounds like they'll probably try and keep on the top line with Joe. But if he has a problem, then the Sharks are going to have a problem. And the Kings have put a lot of money and hope into Ilya Kovalchuk.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not a bad team, but if they don't have somebody in that spot, the Kings aren't going to be that good either. But if he's great and all of a sudden he's just a normal Ilya Kovalchuk, which means he only scores 30 goals instead of 50.
Right.
That's a good team. That's a really good team.
Yeah. So I guess that would be my early assessment is I think the Sharks and the Kings are the cream of this division.
Yeah.
Right?
And Calgary is the big question mark for me.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it until they can prove something. Like I think they appear to be dysfunctional and they're bringing in some new core guys and Mike Smith is like 58. Like, I just don't think that they're going to be able to pull this off. They signed Eddie Lack to be his backup or something like that. I mean, like, it's not going to work out. And the Oilers, I mean, they can't possibly be as bad as they were last year, but what have they done to get better? Nothing.
Yeah.
And they lost Sakara, I think, for almost the whole year.
Yeah, he got hurt.
They already suck on the blue line.
I know.
And they did nothing to replace him.
Right.
So that's bad. Vancouver's going to be bad. And Arizona, dude, they got off to a terrible start. But I think they were over 500 for the last half of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be so dumb as to say that Arizona is going to be in the mix. But they're
probably not going to be embarrassing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Right. They're interesting.
Yeah.
So that's my amateur analysis.
Well, dude, I think we should wrap this up. We're 38 minutes in.
Yeah. You said, there's nothing to talk about, nothing to talk about.
Well, dude.
And here we are again, rambling for 40 minutes.
Yeah. Well, this is how this goes. But
any last stuff here, dude, from people? Yeah. James Neal is a big loss. Yes.
Dude, one thing I also wanted to point people to is go to TSN, go to the NHL page on TSN.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Mike's favorite player.
Well, unfortunately, there's a video about an ex-Shark, Joe Murphy, on the front page of TSN, and they did an in-depth video report on that. Unfortunately, Joe Murphy is not doing so well in his retirement years, and I encourage everybody to go to TSN and watch that reporting. It's really good stuff. And
maybe throw the link in the post.
Yeah, I'll try to do that. It should be pretty easy to find. I think they're pretty proud of it. It's on the front page. You should be able to find it. But
it's like a documentary.
Yeah, it's like a 15-minute video. Definitely worth watching. And it's tough to see an ex-NHL player in that kind of trouble, but hopefully things will turn around for him a little bit. So invite everybody to see that. Let's see. Anything else? DeMello or Heed, dude? Do we think is that really a question?
Well, I mean, not for Pete DeBoer, I don't think. I don't think Pete DeBoer likes Tim Heed.
I don't think Pete DeBoer likes Tim Heed either. I think Tim Heed. I think there's a decent chance that Tim Heed will not be on this team opening day.
They didn't give DeMello a 2-year contract to be the 7th guy. I mean, I think unless he gets grossly outplayed, he's going to be on the third pairing.
And Joakim Ryan's going to be in the lineup.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Joakim Ryan is going to be playing with Brent Burns.
Yeah. That's how I see it too.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I appreciate all of you in the comment thread and watching us live. Of course, this will be a podcast as well. And thanks again. And we'll be back hopefully within a month.
That's right, dude. Viva la France.
Viva la France.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. Later.
Later.